Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, and we are back with the rumour mill. Yes, it's your Monday fix. Leeds United we've scoured the markets, hopefully. We've got our plans together. We're ready to put in some more bids because Leeds United need to start making acquisitions very, very soon. Leeds United need to start selling players very, very soon. A report came out around about 3 or 4 days ago, which was stating that apparently Victor Orta is looking at bringing maybe one body in the next 3 weeks. Well, Victor needs to be a lot more than that. We've got the Australia tour coming up very, very fast, and this team needs to have synergy. It needs to have cohesion before that tour. We know this Brendan Harrison signing was pretty much done, signed, sealed, and delivered in January if Leeds were to stay in the Premier League. So I'm counting that a little bit, but these are summer acquisitions that we're looking at now. And we are seeing clubs making moves, 100%. We're seeing clubs making moves. We're seeing clubs, I think it's really going to start kicking on this week. Really do. There's been a lot of rumours on the mill with regards to certain clubs going in for certain players, and that seems to be heating up. So don't be surprised if things start really, really taking centre stage this week. But before I get into the transfer news, everybody, welcome. Morning. Hope you're all okay. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. I hope you got your coffee, your tea, your wine, wherever you are, because we have different time zones on the One Leeds Fan Channel. I know there's people from Australia, Canada, America, Mozambique, wherever. I know you could just be in Leeds. So listen, got your coffee, tea, your wine. Hope you're sitting down, having a good time, and let's get on with it. So loads to get into today. Straight away, what I want to get off my chest really is on the Patreon account. I keep speaking about the Patreon account, guys. I will be releasing 5 championship targets that I think Leeds United should realistically go for this transfer window. That will be released this evening. The Patreon link is in the description below. Very affordable. If you guys just want to come in for a month, you can do that. There's no contractual obligation or anything like that. Just hit the link, pledge a couple of quid, and you can come into our zone. There's 57 of you now. Thank you so much for everybody who's joined this week. Thank you so much for your views as well. And we will be getting stuck in some transfer business on there as well if you want some bonus stuff. So let's get into it anyway. Enough waffle. Huddersfield Town 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Why are you talking about that, Connor? Well, I'm talking about that United's calendar for me. It really was. Excuse me, I got a bit of a sore throat this morning. And the reason behind that is because on either side, there were targets. On the one side, Huddersfield, you got Lewis O'Brien, another excellent game. On the other side, you've got Brennan Johnson, and you've got Jed Spence, you've got James Garner, and maybe Joe Worrell. You've got a Nottingham Forest side there, in my opinion, who are ready-made for the Premier League, got an excellent foundation, got an excellent structure, and a very good team ready for the Premier League. And listen, Huddersfield were almost, this is harsh to say, but they were embarrassing. I thought they were extremely poor. And they've been poor all season, but I give Carlos Corberán a little bit of credit. He bought 13 free transfers in this last summer. He should be nowhere near the playoff final, and he's there, and he's done a really, really good job. But they're not a great side to watch. They're really not. And there's no iteration that he plays any similar way to Marcelo Bielsa. People need to get that sort of out of their head. The first season he did, there was a man marking structure for Huddersfield Town. It was all sort of possession based. Now it's completely different. It really is. There's a lot of long balls in there. It's all about being solid at the back, and there's no man marking system at all. It's purely zonal. So very, very different. A lot of people are saying that have Carlos Corberán in. I've uttered it myself, but really, when you watch Huddersfield Town, you know that his philosophy is very, very different to what Marcelo's was. So when you look at that Huddersfield Town side, Lewis O'Brien, I thought was excellent again. The only player, it's a little bit like Raphinha with the Leeds squad, almost the only offensive quality that they actually have. So Raphinha is sometimes looking around and going, is there any quality in and around me? Lewis O'Brien's doing the exact same thing. Excellent ball carrying ability, always wins free kicks. If he's on the ball, he'll try to take a man on. If someone touches him, he'll go down. He never loses it. He never ever loses it. I could not, for the life of me, understand some Leeds fans, and I get football subjective, but who were turning around in January and saying 8 million is too much. Well, is 8 million too much now? It is not. This guy's been absolutely excellent for Huddersfield Town this season. He's got them to the playoff final, I will say, single-handedly, because without Lewis O'Brien, they'd be nowhere near it. He is the quality defensively. He is the quality offensively. He's a real good player, and I think that Daniel Mann said it last night quite rightly on the commentary. He said there's no chance he's going to be in the Premier in the Championship again. So if we miss out, that's our bag. We've missed out many times before on targets because we haven't pushed the button. He's not a flashy signing, but I don't care. I'm sick of these Hollywood signings. I'm sick of signings that Victor Orta's made that haven't worked. Firpo, in my opinion, Diego Llorente, Rodrigo, all these Hollywood signings when you've literally got players in the division below. And this is what I'm going to be getting on the Patreon video today. Players in the division below who are top operators and can play at the Premier League. Just because he's called Lewis O'Brien and not Brian Dino doesn't mean that we shouldn't be going in for him. Enough with this Hollywood rubbish. Go in for players who really can cut the teeth in the Premier League and have proven it in the division below and deserve to be given a chance. So Lewis O'Brien, apparently Leeds are ready. Excuse me again. Leeds are ready to trigger a fresh move for Huddersfield Town midfielder Lewis O'Brien, which we should have done in January, which we could have done in January. Apparently, Huddersfield turned down 4 offers from Leeds in January, but I think they set the target, didn't they, for 10 million quid, and Leeds didn't want to pay it. 8 to 10 million quid, Leeds didn't want to pay it. But he's special. He's absolutely special, and apparently Leeds are ready to trigger it now. And if Leeds don't, we will miss out, and another club will. Dead simple. Dead simple. So Leeds United are also battling Premier League duo Brighton and Brentford and Glasgow rival Celtic and Rangers for commentary ace Gustavo Hamer. He's rated in the region of 9 to 10 million quid. Brazil-born Hamer has been a regular for Coventry over the past 2 seasons since joining from the Eredivisie side Pek Zwolle. He has clocked up 85 appearances for Coventry over the last 2 seasons. So another holding midfielder here. He's had his hand in 8 goals this season. He scored 5 and created 3, which is really good for a central defensive midfielder. Hamer's been on. I've known about Gustavo Hamer for a while, just because I've done a bit of work there, in and around Coventry, bits and bats. I don't know whether or not he is ready for that step up to the Premier League. He's decent, he's a good player, but that it's almost that lower bracket championship in Coventry, that lower to bottom bracket championship quality, really. So he's a decent player, but yeah, I mean, 9 to 10 million is an absolute joke. Now that is a joke. But when you've had Lewis O'Brien, who's been running the show for 2-3 years at Huddersfield Town, 9 to 10 million is reasonable, I think. Huddersfield Town head coach Carlos Corberán also has said that he does not believe any of his players want to leave the Terriers this summer. Well, Carlos, he's not been in this position before, has he? He's not been in this position before. To be fair to him, Leeds, when obviously we were beaten by Derby in the playoff semi-final, we went into a real summer of transition. Really, obviously Pontus left, which was sort of a big loss, but allegedly Leeds were looking to move Pontus on anyway. He was the big mover when he went to Brentford. But Calvin Phillips stayed, and I think maybe Carlos is thinking to himself, maybe he can keep the core together. But Huddersfield just simply aren't a big enough club. Leeds were always a big enough club to be able to retain one of the world's best coaches in place, who was staying another season, who was saying, look, Calvin, we will get to the Premier League. That's very, very different to Huddersfield's situation. Size of club, projection for next season. Do they have the financial strength and mount to be able to go for promotion next year? And they'll be a solid club. They might be able to build again, but I'm not sure they'll be in the same position again. So, yeah, I don't think surely he can't be in the mindset that he thinks that no club's going to come in for Lewis O'Brien. And if Leeds came in for him, the kid's not even got to move house, has he? So it's a very convenient move. He'll be playing in the Premier League, and he's a better ball carrier than anything we've got. He's centre midfield. Facts. We don't have a ball carrier as good as Lewis O'Brien. Click, no. Forshaw, no. Even Phillips, no. I know it's not his game, but Phillips, no. We do not have a central midfielder who has got the ball capacities of Lewis O'Brien. Lewis O'Brien would be, in my opinion, I wouldn't involve Calvin in this because I think Calvin's more of a DM, but he would, you look at Click, you look at Forshaw. Lewis O'Brien's the best player by a mile. But that's not popular rhetoric. That's not popular to say that because, they're the promotion boys, but he's a better footballer. Technically, he's better. He's younger. He's a better ball carrier. He's a better tackler than both of them. So, yeah. So it's vitally important, in my opinion, that Leeds move for him. Okay. Next on the mill, I spoke to you guys yesterday about my worries a little bit with Tyler Adams coming to Leeds United. Obviously, the Leipzig defensive midfielder who's looking for a Premier League move. I can say that as an exclusive. His agent and Tyler are looking for a Premier League move this window. But my worry is if Leeds are to replace Calvin Phillips with him, because I've been told by several people it's a downgrade. When you're looking at several aspects online, looking at articles, you're speaking, as I've said, speaking to certain people, it's a big downgrade. But if they partnered him with, Calvin Phillips, that could be a good move. He's combative. He's not great in possession, but he's good in the tackle. It seems like he's a bit more of a destroyer. Calvin Phillips will be better on the ball. But yeah, that is going to cost Leeds, it looks like, according to several reports this morning, that is going to cost Leeds, I believe. Yeah, it's a 40 million euro release clause, which is obviously 34 million quid. So yeah, that is a lot of money. It's a hell of a lot of money. But if Leeds are playing a 4-2-2-2 system, or a 4-2-3-1 narrow, or a 4-4-2 diamond, 4-4-2 diamond is probably a little bit different, because you would have Adams sitting at the base, whereas normally we'd have Phillips sitting at the base. So if we were to get Tyler Adams in and to retain Calvin Phillips' services, I doubt we'd be in a 4-4-2 diamond. But in a 4-2-2-2, you could have him next to a Calvin Phillips. But that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Last on the mill this morning, everybody. Barcelona now know that apparently Leeds United want 47 million quid, not euros, quid, for Raphinha, according to Mundo Deportivo. And it all basically hinges on whether or not Ousmane Dembele decides to stay at the Nou Camp, because obviously Dembele's wages are through the roof. Now, allegedly, Manchester United, Newcastle, PSG are all interested in bringing Dembele to their clubs. Obviously, that would have a massive knock-on effect for Raphinha's potential transfer to Barcelona, because that would open more, a bigger wage structure, really. But the funniest thing about this is they genuinely thought they were going to get him for sort of 21 to 25 million. But Mundo Deportivo reports that the Catalan Giants now know that Leeds want at least 47 million for Raphinha. So listen, that's at least, I'm hoping, because it's an absolute joke if Leeds, I think 47 million is too low. For me, you're adding 20 million on top of that. You're 20 million on top of that. So once again, Leeds can't get bullied. Leeds can't get bullied in this situation. Wouldn't surprise me if Real Madrid came in. I've said this before. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe PSG came in, or maybe a little bit less likely. Bayern, obviously, if they're going to get Sadio Mane, it's going to be a bit different. And I think Bayern have been very, very realistic. We were all laughing, everybody, in the January window, because West Ham were coming forward and saying we'll offer 50 million for him. Bayern, there was a report saying that they've wrapped him up in the summer for 42 million quid. That was in January. We were all laughing. We can't lower our expectations and think that this guy should be going for anything less than 65 million. So we shouldn't be bullied. Leeds are in a difficult position now, because Rafa clearly wants to go there. His agent clearly wants him to go there, but Leeds cannot get bullied in this scenario. You just, maybe, the agent, Deco has to go and do his job, and maybe it'll hurt him, but he has to go to Real Madrid. He has to go to bigger clubs. It might even be a case of him got some English clubs. Hopefully not the dark side, but going to some English clubs and saying, look, would you fancy Raphinha? And if not, then he stays with Leeds for another 3 months or another season. That is how it is. It's how football works. And Raphinha, for me, sometimes he looks a little bit stroppy on the field in terms of annoyed at little aspects, but when he's on the ball and what he gives in terms of footballing ability, he's been nothing short of exceptional for Leeds. So yeah, maybe his attitude would improve as well if Leeds were to dot better players around him, which is what we've said about January. Leeds didn't. We couldn't be bothered to invest in and around Raphinha. And there was an obvious downturn in Raphinha's form in and around that, because he probably looked and thought, what am I doing here? They can't even be bothered investing. They don't even want to invest in this club, which is going to help us profit and get further up the table. So we're going to be fighting relegation. That was probably a mad thing to get in his head when Victor Orta had sold him a European dream. 100% he sold him a European dream, because why would Raphinha go from a top 4 club in France to Leeds United to fight relegation? He wouldn't. And I understand it's made his profile bigger, but the French league is still a big league. If he'd have been in the French league another season and got maybe another 10 goals on what he had for Rennes, his profile would have been high anyway. It'd have caught the eye of PSG. It'd have caught the eye of Barcelona then. So, all this profile stuff in the Premier League, it's massively advantageous for the player, but still, you are looking at a scenario here where Raphinha would have done it wherever he'd have been. And I just think that the dream that was sold was pathetic. The fact we didn't invest in January was pathetic. But if we can invest and show him something in this window and he stays, you might see a different Raphinha, an even better Raphinha. Let me know you guys see in the comment section below. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe, and head over to the Patreon if you want some bonus transfer content, guys. And I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.